one, more of a like a why and how come type thing, like why I'm a gamer, that sort of stuff. I'll start with like when I got into gaming, and it was when I was like primary school, or whatever the Americans call primary school. So Commodore 64, VIC-20, kind of that era. That was my first.
Death is coming.
That was
Cut
my
me
first
down.
first
Please cut me
introduction to
down.
gaming.
Please.
I've never really found anything else that caught me by like that other than art, and that's my other field. So it's gaming and art. So during my school years and stuff like that, I was very good at the arts, you know, design, all that sort of stuff. I'd done architecture for a while, all that sort of stuff, but the office work was too, like, it drove me nuts. You know, ties, cubicles, like, couldn't deal with it. It's like, I need to be out there in the dirt, basically. So I ended up doing warehouse stuff, so like driving forklifts and that sort of stuff. And I was good at it, but I still enjoyed my art, done me drawing, that sort of stuff. But the gaming, it's like, it doesn't, you don't have, it's not like the art where it's got to be perfectly clean. Usually it's done in a cubicle, that sort of stuff. You can do it anyway. You could be on your, especially nowadays, you could be on your phone, you could be in your lounge room, in your bedroom, at your friend's house, in a friggin', or it's harder to find now, but an arcade or something like that. And that's why it stuck with me for so long. But back in the day of the VIC-20 and the Commodore 64, the Atari, it was, graphics were not the thing. It was gameplay, how entertained you could be by the game, and that mentality of a game has stuck with me ever since. And I can't even see his eyebrows. Yeah. Oh yeah, I've just recreated another character, starting on Exiled Lands on my offline game. In case you're curious. Well, back to the games. My father had a VIC-20, and he had a therapist simulator on it. It was a text-based game. There was no pixelized person or anything like that you could say, okay, that's your therapist. It was literally just text popping up. It would ask you questions, you would answer the question, and then it would give a statement. Excuse me. So think of choose your own adventure storybooks, kind of like that. But we got introduced to it, and he showed us the basics of like how you can go into and add your own questions and add your own answers, and would be putting things in, being kids, putting things in like, how often do you poop? It's like no psychiatrist in their right mind is gonna say, hey, how often do you poop? It's like, but we being kids thought it was funny, so we'd do that, and it was like, oh, we're escaping what is going on around us. We're getting sucked into this little universe on this text-based 8-bit monocolor, like it was black, white, and like a green tinge, basically. And it's like, we're getting sucked into it, and I loved that about it. It's like my art, but without the cubicle. It's like, yeah, I'm all for that. So then, as I grow up, you get the GameCube come out, the Master System, the Mega Drive, the Saturn, the Dreamcast, all that sort of stuff. The original Game Boy with no backlit screen and all that. The joys of trying to play Tetris, putting a flashlight on it in the middle of the night, trying to play it while, say, your parents don't know you're playing it. All that sort of stuff. It's like, I was right into that. I loved that whole, the whole universe, basically. So I've stuck with it. And all these years later, it gets to the point of milestones where it's like, the Master System and the Mega Drive comes out and they bring the whole VR thing out. It was bad for your eyes. It was horrible to look at, but it was 3D. You'd put the visor on. It would be like if you look up on YouTube, you could probably find a video. It's got what are they? Game VR or something like that, I think they called it, where they got the Nintendo brought out a VR system, and it didn't use a screen like we used to. It didn't use the 3 different colors gridded across on your eyes. It didn't use that. It used more like a laser scanning across, like your old TVs used to. The CRTs used to scan across. It used to do that, and it was one color, and it was red. It was horrible to look through, but people are still modding them to this day. And it's like, those people, thank you for being there. I wish I could get hold of some of your gear. Like, it'll be awesome. People who are getting the original Game Boys and freaking refurbishing them, making them brand new and stuff like that. It's like, it's awesome. But yeah, there was the VR thing, and it's like, I love the premise of that. But it was going to take years before they freaking perfected that. And then the Dreamcast comes out, which in my opinion to this day is still the best console ever released. It wasn't the most powerful console, but the controller was good. The extras were good. The games on it were good. It's like the whole thing was good. There's no problems that like you'd be getting frustrated with it. It had the little I think they called them the UMDs or something. It was the little, like a memory card, but it had a little screen on it. And certain games, I think, I'm trying to remember now. I think Sonic the Hedgehog had it. I think Virtua Fighter had it. I can't remember whether Shenmue had it or not. I can't remember whether Shenmue was out at that point. But you could have your save game on the cartridge, then you could pull the cartridge out and you could play a mini game on the memory card. It's like that kind of stuff. It's like innovation. It was Nintendo's innovation without Nintendo's stupidity. Because let's face it, yeah, Nintendo were innovative, but like the stuff that they bring out, it's like, seriously, dude, do we need that? For any Americans, there you go. There's your full nudity. Yeah, that'll be fine. Let's see. Let's call it. Yeah, that'll do. Yeah. Anyway, getting back to it. Yeah, so the Dreamcast, Saturn, PS1 when the PlayStation 1 first came out. That was good times. And not so much for the gameplay. Like Gran Turismo came out, it was okay. But getting the Game Shark, the little thing that plugged into the back, they weren't all called Game Shark. Some of them were some other brands as well, but Game Shark was the popular one. You'd plug it in, you'd punch in codes, and you can activate cheats and freaking soft hack this. Oh, I'm in the ground. Soft hack the system. It was freaking awesome. So, and it was around about then too the BMX XXX came out. And I was like, oh yeah, so gaming can actually be like, as I'm getting older, it can actually mature with me. Awesome. So yeah, get into BMX XXX. It was actually a really good game.
The very bounds of civilization.
The XXX part
the passage
wasn't really warranted. Because the only real XXX part, it was more of the name, because they had cutscenes you could find around the world that were raunchy dances. There was no nudity or anything like that, but it's like, it's cool that they've got more on the mature side of stuff, which is what I was in. Because as you get older, you look for stuff that goes with you. You don't want to keep playing Pokemon or Mario when you're old. You want something that's got more of a mature gameplay, and that's what I've been looking for. And I'm getting to that, but that's what I've been looking for. So when BMX XXX came out, it's like, cool. So the gaming industry doesn't just cater for kids, it caters for the whole range. So I've gotten beautiful. And this is all way before like microtransactions and shit like that. So as you go forward, Triple X Code comes out. I didn't go hunting for the cutscenes because if I want to watch movies, I'll go to the internet or buy a DVD or in that era VHSs and stuff like that. It's like, get a local adult bookstore or porn parlor or whatever you call it. Get yourself a DVD or a VHS or magazine or something. You don't play video games for that. You play video games for the interactivity, for the make your own adventure. Like for example, I'm this character running around in a desert. And the thing that the main premise of playing video games is to escape your real life. So for example, I can't just go out the front, walk around the desert with no clothes on, and find, hang on, I'll come up here so you can see, and find giant demon bats. Can in video games. Anyway, back to the timeline. PS2 comes out. The whole Sega situation starting to teeter out. It's like, we're not making enough money on the consoles, we're going to just go into gaming development and stuff like that. So Sega's sort of getting out of the console race. Nintendo's still in it. Sony's just entered it type thing. They bring out their PS2. Tecmo bring out Dead or Alive. Best fighting game ever, and I'll fight anyone that says Tekken or Street Fighter or anything like that is better. It's like, and don't anyone say it's because of the jiggly boobs or anything like that. That is not why I got into Dead or Alive. You get Dead or Alive, you stick it in there, you boot it up, the fighting is smooth. It doesn't feel like keyframing. For anyone who doesn't know what a keyframe is, it's where they get one pose, that's a keyframe. Another pose is a keyframe. It doesn't feel like there's two different poses to do a kick, like a stand and a foot in the air. It feels like they're actually kicking. Whereas Street Fighter, in the 2D ones especially, because they were literally hand-drawn. But the Tekkens, Street Fighters, even Virtual Fighter was bad for it and stuff like that. They have the whole keyframe feel, and it's like I didn't want that. I wanted the smooth motion. And then on top of that, you had a roster of cool characters. Yes, Tekken has cool characters. Street Fighter has cool characters. That's all great and all. But like Ken and Ryu, you get their red and white karate outfits. That's their entire outfit. Dead or Alive, it felt like you get 100 outfits for each person. It wasn't. It was closer to like 10 or 15. So, Lei Fang or Kasumi, you'd be playing her, you go into arcade mode, you do the full arcade mode and unlock a new outfit and you go, yes! So you jump back into again with that new outfit on. You do the entire arcade again with that new outfit on. Because there was none of this go to the store and buy new outfits. You had to earn them by playing the game. It's like, yes! When you unlock the new outfit, and it felt like each character had like 100 outfits. But it was closer to like 10 and maybe 15 for some of the females, and variant colours of those outfits. And it wasn't like nowadays where they go, oh, for example, here's an outfit, we'll say a t-shirt. Grand Theft Auto is bad for it. And they'll give you the exact same t-shirt in white, and then you have to buy a different one because if you want it in black. It's like, there was none of that. There was, you get the white one, and then you can choose white, black, red, green, yellow, whatever. And that's when it was like, gaming industry was at peak back then. So PS2 era. Then as we jump forward, we get the PS3. Not a great deal happened in PS3 or the Xbox, when the Xbox first released. But when the original Xbox released, I jumped on that wagon straight away. I got Dead or Alive on there. I got Halo on there. Project Gotham Racing. To this day, I still say that is probably one of the better race games ever to come out. A lot of people will say, no, but this Gran Turismo was better. No, you looked at the fidelity in Project Gotham, and things like when you're driving a car and you go into like photo mode, or it actually had photo mode on the original Xbox, or was it on 360? But yeah, anyway, it had photo mode before all the games are starting to implement photo mode. You could go like coming up to a corner, going around a corner. You could see the brake calipers clamping on the discs. That's how detailed they went with the cars. None of the games do it these days. But then that's its peak. Like that's when the gaming industry was at its best. And that's when it's like, oh yes, I love being in the gaming industry. I can do my art on the side. I can play my games, and like rainbows and buttercups, basically. And I was like, great. Then the companies you think the least that are going to screw shit over start screwing shit over. Comments are turned off, dude. I always thought it'd be someone like Ubisoft or the ones that do Division and all sorts of stuff. One of those would be the ones to screw it over. But surprisingly enough, no. It was... I don't want to blame Steam for it, but it's roughly when Steam was introduced. Not long after that, people saw, oh yeah, that's getting popular. And I don't know why, it is the worst thing ever to happen to gaming. Actually no. Third worst thing to ever happen to gaming. Because... can you not hit me, please?
Good luck, Exile.
Seriously, Turtles, go away. Again, comments are turned off, dude. Yeah, so Steam comes out. That's not the problem. But then EA. This is the first sign that stuff is getting screwed up. EA bought Maxis, the creators of The Sims. Sims 1 was great. Sims 2 was better. Sims 3 was about the same as Sims 2, but with better graphics. Sims 4, it was Sims 3 with less features. And this is where you can see the problem. It was around about late Sims 3, early Sims 4, that EA for The Sims brought this Origin thing. It's a launcher for The Sims. And that is the start. I can pinpoint, that's the start of the downfall of the gaming industry. And it's EA. So now you've got to download this third party or second party, whatever you call it, secondary app to play the game. So, unlike the olden days where you'd buy the disc or the cartridge, put it in the thing and play it, it's like you have to boot it up, start this program that has nothing to do with the actual game. You have to start that to play the game, so you have to have that program running and the game running just to play the game. It's like, well, there you go. That's ruining the experience already. But then they do things like, ooh, microtransactions. So instead of the DLCs for The Sims, you can look back on the catalogs, Sims 1 and Sims 2 and 3. It was, depending on your region, somewhere between 15 and 30 bucks for a DLC. And usually, it would, back then, it came on a disc. You'd put in your computer, install the disc, DLC installed, and it was a good chunk of stuff. You know, but a new map, new outfits, new building materials, you name it. Basically a whole game of its own, just not quite as big as the base game. But then, once the Origin thing comes out, they go, oh well, we can charge more for it. So now, if you look at the Sims DLCs, it's the Sims, and then you'll get the in brackets full size DLCs, which is the pets, right? Whereas in 3, early, or 2, pets came in the base game. But they're charging basically almost the full price for this DLC of pets. And they go, well, we're not making enough money off that. Let's bring out kits and whatever all the other things called. And those things are the price, the kits are the price of what the full DLCs used to be. And literally all you get is like 4 pieces of clothing, and maybe 2 building pieces. No new map, no new features, no new nothing. It's just a couple of things. And they're charging like 15 to 30 bucks for it. That's what you used to pay for a full-on DLC. And then you got, fast forward a little bit more, you got Steam's friggin' so popular that everyone's defending it. It's like, don't ask me why. It is a bad idea, but like having a place to download games, yeah. But why do you have to have it open to play the game? If I go to the local store and buy a disc of a game and put it in my computer, I should be able to play it. I shouldn't have to have a secondary program running just to play the game. And then you get the Epic Store and stuff like that, and it's around about that point where the microtransaction stuff goes out the window. EA implements the loot boxes. The Fortnite phrase starts, and people are spending $1,000 real life dollars on a virtual knife in the game. It's like, what is wrong with you people? And then we come to the modern era, the PS4, PS5, Xbox One, and Xbox Series. And like, the gaming industry needs some serious help. We got Grand Theft Auto, 3rd generation of Grand Theft Auto 5. Their Red Dead Redemption, which is the newer version of Grand Theft Auto, is dead in the water. Then you've got other things like games companies bringing out games that are like absolute crap. It's like, if you go to the PlayStation Store right now and go to the new releases, I can guarantee you over half of them are like back on the original Game Boy graphics and gameplay. Why are they releasing that stuff on the store now? It's not remastered stuff, it's new stuff. It's newly created. It's like, what the hell? And then just to top it off, the whole virus crap happens, but that's got nothing to do with the gaming industry. And in fairness, we should have expected to see some sort of, I don't want to say slacking or lapse in stuff coming out, but when games companies like Ubisoft, which was the game company I thought was going to fuck it all up, is right now the golden child. And game companies that you thought were the golden child, CD Projekt and Bethesda, they're the dirty guys. It's like, I don't play games to make a company money. I play games to be entertained and to be pulled away from my reality. So if I see a game, Conan is a good example. I saw the game, it was labelled open world, survival in the Conan universe. Uncensored, violent. There was no say of coarse language, and I've yet to hear any coarse language as such. But it's like, I'm a mature player now, and it's a mature game, so it's like, cool. So I originally bought it on the Xbox. I didn't get it on PC because it's through Steam, and I refuse to use Steam. But then it's like, cool, so I'm playing it. It's like, as you can see, I have nudity turned on. I'm actually naked and stuff like that. If I go up and kill people, I can chop their heads off and stuff like that. It's like, so it's all the cool stuff that I want to play, and it's the escape of reality. I can go swimming down the river. I wouldn't be able to, in real life, I'm not fit enough to swim from there all the way down to the swamp, but in the game I can. I can't get, if I come into settings here and do the admin, like, not all games are going to have the admin panel, but any game that does is better for it. I will tell them that now. Obviously online games can't have this stuff because It's a fairness thing, unless it's GTA, because apparently they don't care about it. Let's do that. We'll grab that one. And we'll get that one. Just so the YouTube's happy about me wang not flapping in the wind. If I ran around with this thing in my hand in real life, I'd be arrested. But I can do it in the game. I can run up to here, and there should be guys. I'll probably die because I'm only a nerd. I can come up here and murder things and not get into trouble for it. It's like, hell yeah, give me more of this shit. And then you go forward. How long's Conan been out? Not that many years. You get, what's it, one generation? Because it came out on the Xbox One. Then they had the X come out, and the PS4 Pro came out, and now we've got the next gen. So it's, yeah, 1 and a bit gens. And in that time period, it's gone from, here's a game, especially on Sony's behalf, here's a game, like when this came out, Bethesda was starting to do their bullshit. And they weren't doing anything wrong per se. Like they weren't saying, oh, here's Fallout, and then giving you, I don't know, friggin' a turn-based, friggin' top-down. It was Fallout. Fallout 76 is Fallout. So they haven't done anything wrong. It's just that that's not what we wanted, for one. And then to add the monetization on it, it's like, come on, dudes. That's the kind of shit EA's pulling. Bethesda shouldn't be pulling that. And all this time is happening, CD Projekt. Everyone's going, The Witcher 3, The Witcher 2, The Witcher 1. Great company. They've not screwed us over in any way. They became the golden child at that time. Oh, boy, do things turn. Holy shit, do things turn. Within 3 years, it turned. It turned for the worst. Like, that golden child, CD Projekt, are now the low-life scum of the gaming industry. It's like, they're the bottom of the ladder. It's like, if you want to aim to be somebody in the gaming industry, it's sad to say, but you probably want to be Ubisoft. And that's the company I thought was going to fuck it all up. And the company I thought was the one that I wanted to be like is the one that you want to avoid them like the plague. And all because of one game, one decision, and it's like... So, yeah, that's my history on gaming, and why I got into gaming. And to sum it up, the reason I got into gaming is it's an escape from reality. You can be and do what you cannot be and do in real life. You can do it in the video games. Whether it be something stupid, serious, scary, or action-packed, video games can let you do it. Movies are great, but you're not doing it. You're watching it. A game, you're doing it. That's why when people say the Conan movies, you could go watch a Conan movie. Yeah, it's great. Depending on which one you want to watch. The Arnold Schwarzenegger one was quite good, but it was Arnold Schwarzenegger. It wasn't me. He done shit that I would never do. He also didn't do shit I would do. Whereas in the game, if I want to do this stuff, I'll do it. Unless, and this is why the gaming industry is fucked right now, unless the company that releases the game decide to prevent you from doing it, or charge you to do it, or just don't implement it in the game. Go back one generation. So go to PS3, 360 era. You look at the choice of games that came out and how many of them were good. And I'm not talking like, oh, this game is awesome. I'm talking about like, you can play it from start to finish, have no major complaints, not necessarily be wowed, but have no major complaints. No crashes, or very minimal crashes, and the occasional bug. You then jump forward to today, or last year. How many games in the library of games that have come out can you say that about? Big fat zero! Conan at this present time is the closest to that. It's like, what the hell? Like, even Ark, as bad as Ark is when it comes to performance and bugs, they're higher up on the good game list. Their Ark game is higher up on the good game list of the last generation, of the generation we're in now, the PS4, PS5, Xbox One, and the Series thing. Like, back on the PS1 and PS2s, the original Xbox, Sega Saturn, Sega Mega Drive, Dreamcast, Game Boys, all that sort of stuff. When a game came out, it was complete, it was polished, it was entertaining, it was worth your money. Oh, and it was correctly implemented. Look at it now. I don't want to beat the dead horse, but the dead horse won't go to jail, so perfect example of CDPR with their Cyberpunk. They promised a game, the game is labelled as a certain game, you buy that game, it is not the game you buy, you complain about it, they tell you to shut the fuck up, and they keep getting away with it. That is not the gaming industry I got into. So there you go. There's the history of my gaming and why I got into it and stuff like that. So if I was to pinpoint when I first got interested in the gaming, it was that shrink simulator on the VIC-20 that my old man had. If I have to point out a spot where the gaming industry died, or is dying, or getting poisoned, or whatever you call it, it's around about the time Steam was introduced. And if I was to pinpoint the point where the gaming industry has actually gone to shit, CDPR. That's all I can say, CDPR. Actually, it's not even just CDPR, it's Cyberpunk. Because since the whole Anthem debacle, how they pulled people off Mass Effect to do Anthem, Anthem flopped because of ineptitude, let's face it, and then because no one was working on Mass Effect, but that obviously didn't go any good, did it? Yeah, people complained about it, that kept them sort of in check. The EA loot boxes, people complained, government agencies got involved, kept that in check, sort of. But this whole CDPR thing, it's like, we just fraudulently release shit and get away with it, and no one's complaining, the government agencies are doing nothing. It's like, all these other companies are looking at it, going, ooh, we can do the same thing. And now we're getting what? Royally screwed. Every gamer is getting... Like, I pity any person who's getting into gaming now. Like, in the PS4, PS5, Xbox One and Series generation. I pity them. They are not going to get a proper gaming experience. They're not going to get the joy of... I can remember, like, when Virtual Racer came out, or Virtual Fighter, or a new Sonic the Hedgehog game came out, or Grand Theft Auto 3. Grand Theft Auto goes 3D. I went to the local video store on the night I was working. Came home from work, pulled in, grabbed Grand Theft Auto 3, rented it for the night because it was a new release. Back then you could rent things from a local store, yeah. So I rented it overnight with a new release, brought it home. I played it all night. Got as far as I could. From the sun setting to the sun rising. Oh fuck, I've got to go to work in a couple of hours. I'll grab a couple of hours sleep. Freaking take the game back on the way to work. It's like, back to work again. It's like, that was what gaming was about. And all that night you're playing at Grand Theft Auto, it's like, oh, new thing, new thing, new thing. But this generation is like, oh, I'll jump onto the PSN store or the Xbox store or Steam or the Epic Game Store, whatever. Oh, there's a game. Cyberpunk, futuristic, uncensored, mature, role-playing game, first-person shooter, story-driven, groundbreaking technology. Oh, I'll download that, give them the $100, download it, start playing, go, what the fuck? Where's my game, bitch? Complain? No, get fucked, stop complaining. Don't like it, buy another version. Buy the PC version, mod it. Shut the fuck up, stop complaining, cunt. It's like, wait, what? I gave you $100, bitch. So, no, fuck you. What the fuck? So, to anyone who's just starting to play games now, it's like, sorry, dudes. You were like 20 years. It's not even 20, it's 10 years. You're 10 years too late. If you'd started playing 10 years ago, it would have been good. Grand Theft Auto 4. Grand Theft Auto 5 is on the horizon. The Far Cry's. The Far Cry 3, pretty good. Far Cry 4, not bad. Far Cry 5, not bad. Far Cry 6, Fallout 3, not bad. Fallout New Vegas, not bad. Fallout 4, getting good, got good stuff in there. Then 76, See what I mean? Like, you can riddle off any game collection. Going good, and it's all in the same couple of years. The only exception is Watch Dogs Legion. Watch Dogs 1 was okay. Watch Dogs 2 was getting better. Watch Dogs 3 is like, what's Watch Dogs 1 and 2, but you can play as anyone. It's like, and you drive on the proper side of the road. It's in the future. It's cyberpunk without being cyberpunk. Hello? Okay, well I'm going to call it, guys. There's a nice, good long stream of me telling you about the gaming industry. So, if anyone is looking to play any decent games, the only thing I can suggest is to jump on one of your, like, eBays, Gumtrees, whatever those online trade centers are that you can find, and look for an old console. If I was to make any recommendations, the Dreamcast, Master System, PlayStation 1s if you can get them, because people are modding them, so they're still pretty hard to get. If you want to get Game Boys, go Advanced or later. Don't initially go the original Game Boys, there's not a great deal on them. But you will utterly enjoy yourself way more playing those things than fighting your way through the inept scumbags and criminals of the modern gaming industry. When the devil 10 years ago is the angel right now, and the angel 10 years ago is the devil now, and it's not to the point where the devil back then wasn't anywhere near as bad as the devil is now. Like, the worst a game company would do back then was release a game with a broken mechanic. If you bought a first-person shooter, you would get a first-person shooter. If you bought a role-playing game, if you buy Final Fantasy, you get Final Fantasy. It's a role-playing, combat, futuristic fantasy game. Whereas nowadays, the the evil thing is, oh, we'll label it as a futuristic first-person shooter, adventure, open world, uncensored game, and give you a not open world, a linear, buggy mess that is censored, even though it's still labeled as uncensored, and it doesn't perform. And then you get people. I had one comment. Oh, in their defense, you're playing it on PS4, and it's a next-gen game. No. Let's clarify this right now. As, for that viewer that watched it, and if he's watching now or whatever, it's like, I'm not hating on you, but I'm clarifying it right now for everybody who is misunderstanding this. Cyberpunk 2077 was developed for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One consoles. So it is not a PS5 and an Xbox Series game. It is depending on how you want to look at it, it is a current gen, not a next gen. It is not a PS5 and an Xbox Series game. It is a PS4 and an Xbox One game. So people are saying that it's not going to perform as well because it's a next gen game. It's not. It is a current gen game, and it is still performing this bad. And me, not being a gaming developer, I can guarantee you right now, you give me a week in their office after I've sacked Pal Sasko and all the other dickheads and got the gaming coders and artists and stuff like that together, I can fix Cyberpunk 2077. I can make it run as good as... I'll riddle off some good examples. There is The Dying Light, 2, or 1, whichever one you choose. Watch Dogs, 1, 2, or 3. All these games are graphically about the same as Cyberpunk is. I want to say Fallout, but that's a little on the buggy side. But it still runs better than what Cyberpunk does. And all these games are actually what they're labelled as. There is no lying, deceiving, defrauding, ripping off, short supplying, or anything like that in any of these games. For example, Watch Dogs Legion. Yes, it's slowed off with the DLC stuff lately. I wouldn't be surprised if they're ending the cycle on it. But if you go into it on the PS4 and look at the character models on the PS4, graphically they are as good as Cyberpunk's are. The difference is I can drive across the entire map on Watch Dogs, not crash, not have a buttload of shit pop in, not have textures disappear, not have items disappear, and not freeze up. I can't do that on Cyberpunk. And I'll tell you right now, there's two things that are causing it. Optimization and resolution. There's also culling and stuff like that they're not doing properly either, but that's not we won't get into that. Just simple resolution. Resolution is the main one. When you've got a game like this, like unimportant stuff, for example, that rock, all that rock, you use the one texture. It's usually a texture that's easily griddable, so that if you do, like the ground is the same. You don't notice it when you're up close, but when you get far away, in fact, if I go to fly mode, let's go to first person. If I go to a spot, is there I can find a spot? I'm probably not going to notice it very well here. But that dirt texture there, which YouTube's going to compress that like living shit. That spot right there is probably that exact same spot that's just there, which is probably the exact same spot that's just there. It's gridded, but it's gridded in a way where when you're down on the ground, it's not noticeable. It's only when you're real far away that it is noticeable. And that's where the LOD comes into effect. As you get far enough away, that will turn from the high quality texture, so we'll say 1,000 by 1,000 pixels to a 10 by 10 pixel of just brown with a couple of darker spotches as you get further away. And that's how the LOD works. And Cyberpunk doesn't do any of that. Like, as you can see, like those trees there, they're the low LODs. As if I come in, you see at a certain point, yeah, you can see the grasses off the side, they're changing. So that's them changing their LOD. It's going from the low texture to either the medium texture or the high texture, depending on how many LODs they've got. Let's see if we can spot the exact point. There's probably one about there somewhere, and one way back in the distance. But that is, if they wanted to fix Cyberpunk 2077 right now and have it working fine on PS4, Xbox Ones, they need to do some optimizations with the textures, and they need to correct the state of the game. And that is referring to the fact, and again, it isn't because I'm a perv or I'm a sicko or anything like that, but when a nudity sensor is turned off, that indicates that no nudity is to be censored, and they are censoring the nudity. That is incorrect. And as I stated in the 2 videos I done yesterday, that it's a criminal offence. It is against the consumer rights. And unless you're in a country that has no consumer rights, which I haven't looked, but I'm pretty sure 90% of the countries around the globe have consumer rights, it is to receive the correct and working product. And they're refusing that to us. And it's not by accident. Like some game companies, as I said in the video yesterday, some game companies will release a game. What's a good example? Recently, I think GTA done it recently. Yeah, Rockstar. When they released the Franklin missions, you couldn't do the missions in a private lobby. It took them a couple of days. They put out a statement, oh, it was a mistake, and they fixed it. And now you can do those missions in private lobbies. That's not what this company, that's not what CDPR are doing. CDPR, oh no, we know it's wrong. Get fucked. When Rockstar, the greediest motherfucking company out there, have turners, oh yeah, we made a mistake, and they fix it. And yet, the in brackets ex-golden child has gone, I know, and we know it's wrong, shut up. Give us more money and buy a PC version, get the modders to fix it. It's like, what? Hell no. Alright. I'm out of here, guys. You all stay safe, and I'll catch you all next time.